In the last episode, we returned to one of the first modules in the display by making an expansion to the Plains Village. There we added a new house and a well. The addition really helped to fill in one of the nastiest gaps in the display, and not only that, we decided to fill in another by adding a 1x1 creeper hole, finally giving me an excuse to use Side Eyes Guy. In today's episode, we're going to build a much simpler transition module, spanning the gap between the flower forest and the snowy village that you find in the front right-hand side of the display. The hope is that this transition module is going to provide a nice bit of breathing room for the player base that is eventually going to go behind it. But hey, that's enough yakking, let's get to building. Today's transition module is going to be a standard 2x1, that's your half a chunk, and I know what you're thinking, it's already done? Well, not quite. The eagle-eyed viewers among you will actually recognize this from a single shot in the Cave Explorers episode, and also from the thumbnail. Yeah, I made this whole build just to make that picture look a little bit nicer. But I figured, hey, we might as well use that already built section to get a head start on this next module. The terrain in this area is surprisingly tall just to accommodate the ravine and make it look a little bit deeper. So you can see as we go toward the left side, the side with the ravine, the terrain does get a bit taller. Now, when building something as brown as a Minecraft mock, I encounter brittle brown more often than I'd like to. But this plate was especially bad, and it took surprisingly little force to get it into this shape. I kind of thought for a second that I'd be able to hide it away and still make use of it, but pressing it down onto more pieces only made it shatter further, and then taking it off was nigh on impossible. Kids, watch out for brittle brown. Gets you when you least expect it. At least I can trust my light gray plates to hold together a bit better here. For those of you unfamiliar with the issue, reddish brown Lego bricks produced between about 2010 to 2017 have a tendency to become brittle and shatter over time. Supposedly, Lego has remedied the issue and this shouldn't happen to future bricks. I guess we'll find out in 5 years or so. The most unfortunate thing about brittle brown is that you don't know you have it until it's far too late. Anyway, with this little sub-assembly here, the terrain is basically all laid out. Of course, that means we need to tile it. For that, we'll be using a combination of white, sand green, and green tiles. To help transition into the flower forest, I'll also be adding in a birch tree. I actually have a birch tree left over from the 2014 remakes that I did for revisiting Minecraft, so I'm glad I could find a more permanent home for that. For mobs, I'm going to be adding in a stray from the Polar Igloo, and then I'll also be adding the player included in the Nether Portal ambush atop a diamond armored horse. That one comes in the horse stable set, and that's actually where I'm going to call this module complete. In a very, very crowded LEGO Minecraft world, a little bit of open space like this goes a long way. Like I mentioned earlier too, this is really going to help the player base, which will appear behind it, shine a whole lot more without a bunch of trees and other structures getting in the way. Next month we're headed back underground to create a module that I've wanted to build for ages, an expansion to the Dripstone Cave. If that sounds interesting to you, you can watch that episode early right now by becoming a channel member. For details, hit the join button below. But that's all I've got for this time. Have yourself a great life, and I'll see you again soon.